That was very invigorating. Thank you. Thank you, Kavya. And
Thank you.
and also her mom, Shilpa ji. Thank you so much. Now we are moving on to our Vedanta session. Our Vedanta session is led by our very own Medha ji. She is a retired scientist, having completed 2 years course in Sandipini Sadhanalaya. We are very fortunate to have Medha ji in leading us in our Vedanta session. Medha ji, Hari Om.
Hari Om, and thank you so much, Sangeeta, and thank you. Where did my Kavya and Shilpa go? Kavya, very good. Thank you so much. It was very nice. Those of you who do not know, they both are Balvihar teachers. And they are teaching Balvihar. Mom is teaching and Kavya is teaching separate classes, but both of them are teaching. So I really appreciated seeing both of you singing together. And there was one more voice. I didn't see who was.
That's Ashwath. He didn't want to be seen on the video.
That's another one. He also was teaching Balvihar till last year, I hear. So very nice. Entire family was singing together, mother, son, and daughter. How precious. How precious this is. So really appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you for the opportunity.
yes, of course, thank you for the blessings that you have invoked, which is very nice. And it's very heartwarming to see mother, daughter, and hidden son also singing over here. Very nice. I really appreciate it. Good. Now, as usual, I would like to see at least some of the cameras on. I'm sorry. I usually don't like to talk to the names, profile names over here. If not, I will continue, but I'm giving an opportunity you to be seen to us. And you can be having a bad hair day and that's fine with us. All right, I'm not able to convince
I
remaining.
am having a bad hair day.
See, still you are there. Very good, very good.
My name is Tanuja.
Tanuja, thank you so much for coming and giving us opportunity to see your reaction when I'm talking. Otherwise, I feel like I'm talking to a wall. And
I understand.
yes, and I have not reached that stage yet where I can just talk to the wall and not get affected. All right, here we go. I'm sure whatever is recorded, this would be edited out. Okay, all right, let's go further. So this talk is about Vanaprastha or gracing, no, sorry, other way, aging gracefully. Yes, we can grace our children and grandchildren, that's true, but the topic is aging gracefully. Now, we have been talking earlier, so I see many new faces here, so I will give a quick summary of what is Vanaprastha. So Vanaprastha is the third stage in the life. So life would be considered 100 years. And in that, approximately, scriptures say 25 years each, one stage. So first stage is the student stage, that is called as Brahmachari. The second stage is Gruhastha, next 25 years. Then 50 to 75 ideally would be the Vanaprastha, and the last one, 75 to 100, would be Sannyasa. So these are the 4 stages. I will show in the slide later on again just to review. But what are the main features of all these 4 stages? So scriptures say, if we live according to the stage in the life, we would be aging gracefully. And something that we do out of place and out of time would not lead us to aging gracefully. It would cause trouble to us and cause trouble to others surrounding us also. So what is considered appropriate for the student life would be obviously learning, study, learning part. Then the next 25 years is earning. So first is learning, then next is earning, grihastha, earning, and then the third part is turning. That's what we are doing right now, and we are looking at how do we turn. So third part is turning, and fourth part is no return. So once you have turned inside, but there is no return. So this is kind of 4 stages: learn, earn, turn, and no return. And those of you might have heard earlier, but this is a review for those who have heard, because we are meeting after a month. So in that, it's good to have a review also. So learn, earn, turn, and no return. Okay, so now we are in a stage of turning. So if we have done earlier learning, if we have done earlier as earning, and now we are able to do turn, then we would be aging graceful, isn't it? But many a times what happens, that turning part is very difficult. And that's what you have been concentrating on, because all our senses are trained to be going outside, doing outside work or whatever outside, hearing, listening, everything, I mean, watching. So how do we turn inside? That's the most $1 million question. And for that, very important point is to have our goal in life to be very clear. What do I want to achieve in life? Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Yourself, everybody, including organizers, everybody. Think couple minutes, what is the goal of my life? Just 1 or 2 minutes. And write it down. What is the goal of my life? I'm not going to talk for next 1 minute. Anyone wants to share? I know it's a very short period of time, 1 minute to think, but you can think about this afterwards also. Anyone wants to share? Yes, Tanujaji, go ahead.
First of all, I want to be in this limited period of time. I want to be a good human being, a good citizen. I want to enjoy nature. And it may sound cliche, but I do want to make Earth a better place than I found it.
Perfect. I want to make Earth a better place than I found it. Okay.
When I say Earth, it's everything around, you know.
Yes, certainly. Yes, got it. Anyone else?
Hari Om Medaji.
Yes.
This is Lata here. When I think about ultimate, what I want, ultimate goal, I want to be happy. And when we are happy, we can spread that happiness all around us. So that is the only thing that will bring the internal peace that we are looking for. So that is what I feel is my ultimate
So
goal.
happiness and peace. Happiness and peace. Okay, got it. Yes. Anyone else wants to share?
Hari Om Medaji.
Hari Om, Padma, go ahead. So are you really from Melbourne attending?
Yes, I am.
What
Medaji.
time
I'm
is it
from
there right
Melbourne.
now?
It is actually 8 o'clock, bit past 8, 15 past 8. So I came to know about these classes through one of our sevaks, and I was very keen to attend Vanaprastha class.
Mhm.
I'm just blessed to come across you all. Hari Om to everyone.
Well, welcome from Virginia. Yes,
From Melbourne. Yeah, thank
go
you.
ahead. Go ahead.
And I've been with, I just give a little bit of introduction of how long I've been with the mission, like, that maybe that, I'm not sure if it is required, but I'm 52 years old. However, I'm interested to understand Vanaprastha, which is the next stage, as you mentioned
Yes.
clearly. So this is a preparation stage for me,
Yes.
and that's so my goal of life at the moment where I stand is to read more and more scriptures, understand them, and also through my seva purify my mind, and with sadhana chatushtaya sampatti.
Sadhana Chatushtaya, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay,
Um,
Viveka,
is my
Vairagya,
goal
Shat
of
Sampatti. Yes, go ahead.
see
Sorry.
and mumukshutvam.
Mm.
I would like to see the divinity in all of them that is in me.
Okay, all right. So you have divinity in yourself, which you know, and you want to see that in others as well. Did I get your point correct?
Yes,
Yes,
that's right,
perfect.
Medaji.
And that is your now preparatory stage. You are adding a landing gear from Grihastha. You want to come down to Vanaprastha, right? All right, perfect.
Yes.
Very good. I'm glad you are joining ahead of time. Before
Thank you,
before
Medaji.
you have a hard landing, you are doing a soft landing, as I say. Perfect. Very good. Anyone else wants to add?
Hari Om Medaji.
Hari Om, who I don't see. Oh, Gomati ji, go ahead.
Govati.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Medaji, I really want to be quiet, and then I want to be happy being quiet
Happy
without
and
any.
quiet. Yes.
That is my goal. That's what I'm trying to achieve.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Happy and quiet. Yes. So anyway, I won't ask because I have limited time. Otherwise, I would have asked question further. But anyway, I'm just collecting data right now. Okay. All right. Anyone
Neetaji,
else?
I wanted to share, build on what Padmaji was saying. Padmaji from Melbourne.
Yes.
I wanted to add to that I just want to to be able to do that in myself, So like the attachments, just not attachments, like beyond that, I want to, what is in my path, I want to just have the strength, and the spiritual connection gives me that strength.
Perfect.
And I've been to Melbourne to that. She seemed familiar to me, but I've been to Melbourne.
All right. Very good. Very good. So now, since I have limited time, I would love to hear everyone else also. But I will take you one step further now. I hear everybody's goals, and that is perfect. I'm going to give you one pointer before I leave. But before that, very important point is I'm going to tell you one short story that will tell you whatever point I wanted to convey. There was one saint in a village. Okay, story time. There was one saint in a village, and he was very revered, very respected. People will go to him, prostrate to him, ask advice. And he was very unique in that what he used to do early morning, after his puja and whatever he has done, pranayama, yogasana, everything he has done, meditation, then he will take a big boulder and he will go to a nearby hillock. Hill was there, and he will push that boulder up. And he will keep pushing that boulder up. He will keep doing that, and it would take him almost 6 hours. So morning 6 o'clock till noon, he would keep pushing up there. And then he would stand up on the top of the hill, visualize he has worked 6 hours. Push that boulder up, visualize it. He's standing at the top. And then what he would do, he would let that boulder off, like let that hands off of the boulder and push it. So what will happen? That boulder will fall off the hill in less than a minute. How long he took to push it up? 6 hours. And then he will let go and it will drop in less than a minute. And then he will say, ha, ha, ha. He would smile loudly. So then there were scientists from Kashi. They came talking to him. Why do you do all that? And how come people respect you all along? Why do you do that? So he was saying, I want to demonstrate how rare human life is. After all the trouble, we have gotten the human life, and what we have been doing all along in our life, working outside, getting worried, this didn't happen, this happened, all that, all the time we are panting, worrying, anxiety, and keep doing this work. And we never know what time we are going to drop our body. We have no clue when we would be dropping this human body, which we have gotten very rare. It's a rare opportunity to get it. So we don't make use of our human birth that we have gotten. So it is very important, whatever life we have, to be in the present and concentrate on what I can do and what I can carry with me to the next life. One of my favorite stories is there, which I will tell maybe next time, but concentrate in the present. Otherwise, at this age in Vanaprastha, what starts happening? Back in old days, at that time, I did this, you know what? Milk was $2 per gallon. Now this is, gas is this much. Why we did it this way? When we used to call India, we used to make a phone call, $2 per minute. Now it can be done just like that. So we just remain in the past, or we are worried about the future, but we don't take whatever we can do in our current time. So the life is very precious and life is very uncertain. Many of you know Bhaja Govindam Shloka. If no, Shloka number 4. I don't have time. I had made that slides from over here, but Shloka number 4. Like the water droplet on the lotus, which is growing in water, on that petal or on the leaf, how uncertain that water droplet is. It can drop any second just by a little bit push here and there. Same way, our life is uncertain. But we should not be dejected by that. It's a fact of life. Take it as a fact of life and make best use of whatever time we have currently. And that's what we are going to concentrate on. I'm just going to end because my time is getting over. I'm going to end with one pointer for us to
Medaji,
think.
may I interrupt? Sorry. You have time, Medaji.
I do?
Yes.
I thought my 20 minutes are up.
No. We did bhajan. You have time. Do
I
another.
do?
Yes.
All right.
At least 5 to 10 minutes. Go ahead.
No. I don't want to go over time because that's probably is not fair to other presenters.
5
But-
minutes at least, Medaji.
Yes, I can take a couple more minutes. So this is the shloka that I wanted to mention from Bhaja Govindam. 4th one, that Nalini Dalagata Jalamati Taralam. Life is like on the lotus flower, the petal, how that droplet is, it is tarala. Tarala means very uncertain. It can fall off any minute. Same way, tadvat jeevitam atishaya chapalam. It is very chapal. It is swift. Anything can happen any minute. And whatever life we have, it's filled with vyadhi also. There are lots of diseases coming. So why waste our time in worrying? Whatever is there, make best use of our time right now and concentrate on, this is what I wanted to end with, Atma Uddhara Jagata Hitaya Cha. So whatever talents, time you have, that time that you use for your own upliftment, uddhara, your own upliftment, at the same time being helpful to the society. Jagata Hitaya. Atma Uddhara Jagata Hitaya Cha. Both. For ourselves as well as using those talents to help the society. Now, how do we do Atma Uddhara? How does it fit into goal of our human life that is being said? I guess I will continue next time. But remember this phrase, Atma Uddhara Jagata Hitaya. Whatever precious time that we have, use it for our own upliftment, for our own purity. And at the same time, use your talents, time, everything for the service of the society. Through that, you will purify your own mind also. And through that, there would be upliftment of your personality. Next time, I will continue with what we carry with us into the, once that boulder has dropped, it has gone down. What do we carry with us? That I will continue. But this phrase, Atma Uddhara Jagata Hitaya Cha. And time is very, we don't know. We may have 25 years, we may have 30 years, we may have 2 minutes, who knows? There is an expiry date already marked on our body right now. Expiry date, we don't know. So whatever is there, not feeling dejected, but making the best use of whatever Lord has given us the opportunity on this earth. We'll do the best possible that we can do. Okay? All right?
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. I can continue another 1 hour, but I don't want to do that. Hari Om, thank you. All yours, Sangeeta ji.
Thank you so much, Medha ji. I know you can keep going and, we'll listen. It was very interesting. Everybody has a goal in life, which is very samsara. And then we should also think about spiritual evolution as we are growing older. It's always good to get a head start. And at this time, I'd like to give a shout out to our participant from Melbourne. At this time, I think we lost her though. No, there, Padma is here.
Her. Yeah, she
is Padma ji, yes, last time she actually said, oh, so sorry, I forgot to join you. And I'm so glad this time you joined us.
Thank you, Sangeeta ji. Nice to meet all of you.
Nice to meet you too. So after that nice talk from Medha ji, we will now relax with our JG. JG is our yoga instructor who has gotten a unique way of teaching yoga. I enjoy his classes, or rather we all enjoy his classes, because he explains what we are doing, the asanas, the pranayamas, and not only that, why we do them and what benefit it's to us. So I welcome JG to lead us in yoga session today. Hari Om.
Hari Om, thank you for the introduction. Let me share my screen. So I will start where Medhaji stopped. In the Bhaja Govindam, it is also says that Pranayamam Pratyaharam Nitya Nitya Viveka Vicharam, right? So I started practicing for more health reason, but later I realized, or I understood, by just focusing on the health aspects, you will not really get benefit from yoga. So when Mehtaji was asking what is the goal of life, I was keep on telling myself why everybody is little reluctant to say that I want to realize myself. In fact, we are already that self. So all the practices, whether pranayama, asana practices, bhakti yoga or karma yoga, all of them should be redirected to that recognition. I'm already that self. So that is the dimension I deal with all yoga practices. So when we do that, there are little more benefit and interest in what we do. Otherwise, what happened is it become more mechanical. We all know the basic pranayama practices, traditional practices, Kapalabhati, Bhastrika, Dirgha Pranayam, Ujjayi Pranayam, Brahmari Pranayam, and many of them are there. But how we interpret and use these practices, that is how we benefit. So I say setting the intention is very important. So I always encourage the physical benefit, the health benefit are secondary, where this time I'm spending to recognize my true self, which I am always operating from that center, from that intelligence. So we'll start with the Dirgha Pranayam, deep breathing. And here what we'll do is we'll keep a chin mudra and then keep both hands in front, elbow straight. And when we are raising the hands up, we slowly inhale with the movement. Initially, it may be difficult. You may not get that much deep breath in, but as you practice regularly, you will be able to extend that inhalation, expanding the lungs and increasing the energy flow throughout the body. We hold it here. As we are exhaling, bring the hands down. This is a complement. The movement of hand is not required, but it's complement more engaging into the practice. And I'll also add a visualization. You mentally visualize a ball of energy, a soft white light at the top of the head, Sahasrara Chakra. When you're inhaling, that energy is moving throughout the Sushumna Nadi, which is aligned with our spine. I'm not going into the basic. I hope that you all know you have to keep the body relaxed and spine straight and all that. Even you are sitting on the chair, that is absolutely fine, not necessarily to sit on the floor or any specific asanas. You can do that. Let me time myself, otherwise I'll be keep on talking. 15 minutes more, Sangeeta-ji?
Yes, JJ.
Okay, yeah, I'm timing myself, so I won't go beyond that time. So when we are doing that, we are inhaling and visualizing that light is passing from the top of the head as if you are sending that energy throughout the Sushumna Nadi to the root of the spine, Muladhara Chakra, where the Kundalini or the accumulation of the energy is there. And when we are exhaling, you visualize that energy, ball of energy moving upward to the top of the head and merge one with the universal energy. So this is a simple practice, but we engage our mind, body, and breath together. Okay, we'll practice 3 rounds. Make a chin mudra, both hands together in front. Keep the eyes closed. When you're inhaling, consciously, slowly raise the hands up over the head. Pull the shoulders up. And keep a slight pause there and exhale slowly. When you're exhaling, mentally visualize that ball of energy from the root of the spine moving upward toward the Sushumna Nadi. Exhale. Again, inhale slowly. Playful with the practice, not forcing. Exhale. One more round. Inhale. Keep the elbow straight. Bring the hands closer to the ears. Exhale, slowly exhale. Bring the hands down. And release. This can be done anytime, not necessary you have to particularly allocate for morning, but morning is the best. So our mind and body, energy, everything works together. And one other practice which I learned, it's unique from the Bihar School of Yoga. I have not seen many other schools of yoga teach this. Ujjayi Pranayama. Ujjayi means it's called victory, victorious, all these things are used. There are two variations, and this is very good for the thyroid. Also, as I said, I always bring that spiritual dimension into it. So you close the eyes, and when we are inhaling, and you can keep the hands relaxed on the knees, back straight, neck straight. You don't want to keep the head down, just keep it a little upward. So when we are inhaling, we use the throat to suck the air in. So it will be like this. As you exhale also, you make the sound from the throat. So I will demonstrate, then we'll do it together. So it will be like this. Again, you inhale. This is one round. Simple. So we'll do it together. This is the first variation. Second variation, a little more intense. I will show you that after this. So we'll do it together, 3 rounds. Inhale slowly. You want to hear the sound as louder as you can make from the throat. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more round. Inhale. Exhale. And open your eyes. Whenever you're doing pranayama, keep the eyes closed. The prana is nothing but the other aspects of the mind. Mind and prana is the same thing. It stems from the consciousness, consciousness as energy, consciousness as thoughts. So when we are closing the eyes, we are also working with our mind. Now, second variation is a little more intense. If you are not comfortable, you can avoid, continue practicing the first one. Second one will close the throat half. And then when you are making, you make the sound like snoring. So it's like this. You may feel some cleaning up at the throat and all that. It's very good for the people who are learning music and all that. So this is the second variation. Again, as I said, this is a little intense. Those of you are not feeling comfortable, continue practicing the older one. We'll do 3 rounds. Breathe in. Breathe in can be normal, but when you're exhaling, you create that snoring sound from the throat. Breathe in. Second round. Third round, inhale. Come back. With that, we also can do the Jaladhara Bandha. Bandha means lock. So here we inhale to the nose and then close both the nostrils and have the chin lock. Once you inhale, you're holding that breath and have the chin lock, you hold it there. Raise the chin up, exhale to the nostril, take the hands down. Jala means the water, dhara, the flow of the water is paused for few seconds. Next practice is Brahmari Pranayama. Normally people explain Brahmari as Brahmaram means the bee. Brahmari is the female bee. So the sound we will be making similar to the female bee sound. But as I said, when we look at it's actually, we are taking our attention or mind or the thoughts to the Brahman. Brahman is not some weird stuff. It is already there. Recognizing that by doing this. How do we recognize? In the Om chanting, A, U, Ma, 3 sounds enters into the silence. Similarly, here we are doing that sound, and or you can do Om sound also with that when you're making the Brahmari. But your feeling is that I am dissolving all the thoughts, mind, ego, individuality, everything into that presence. The presence is never absent. So you are entering into Brahman is Brahmari. Now we will add Shanmukhi Mudra. Mudra means a gesture, right? When it's all, we are familiar, if, victorious, we say thumb. This is the Mudra. Similarly, in yoga, there are many mudras. Here, the Shanmukhi Mudra. Shanmukha means 6 face. What are the 6 face? Ears, skin, eyes, then what? Tongue and nose. That is the what you call the order. Through the ears we'll hear, through the skin we feel the sense of touch, and through the eyes we see, through the tongue we taste and smell through the nose. If we look at it, our life is a perceptive life. Only great sages live real life. We are living in perception. 5 senses, whatever it grasps, we just live in that understanding, Radham. So by withdrawing that, we call it as Pratyahara, as I said in the Bhajagovindam, Pranayamam Pratyaharam. This is one of the Pratyahara practice. Ahara means input. We are withdrawing. These are the Ahara. What are the Aharas? Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandhas. These are the Aharas we take, input. Withdrawing this and then absorbing completely into that substratum, to that presence. How do the Shanmukhi? You keep the thumbs to the ears. Pointing finger over the top of the eyelids. Middle finger at the nostril, not closing, just touching that. Ring finger above the upper lip, little finger below lower lip. And you inhale to the nose. As you are exhaling, bring the attention at the middle of the eyebrows, Brihamadde. And there you create a vibration. As if you are blowing through a pipe, you make the sound like this. You can release the hands and you can watch me, then we'll do together 3 rounds. And we'll bring the hands down, keep the hands in Chin Mudra. You mentally observe at the middle of the eyebrows. You feel that expansion. And you can recognize when you practice regularly a thoughtlessness. If there is no thought, no mind. What is there is that pure intelligence. You recognize that for a few seconds. But here we'll do, I did only 1 round, we'll do 3 rounds, which will increase that intensity. I hope you all got it. we bring the attention at the middle of the eyebrows, clench the teeth, and make that sound a, u, ma sound in the Omkara. Okay, we'll do it together. Shanmukhi Mudra. Breathe in. Bring the hands down. Keep your hands in Chin Mudra. Attention at the middle of the eyebrows. Simply recognize the reduction of thoughts, expansion in the awareness. And bring your hands together, rub your hands, make warm hands. And bring the middle of the palms, covering the eyes, fingers crossed over the forehead. Open and close your eyes inside the palms. And slowly massage over the eyelids, slide the hands to the face. Relax and refreshed. I will stop here.
Thank you, JG. That was very good session we had. Now I would like to invite Prabhaji. This month we celebrated Navratri, the 9-day festival celebrating Devis, the goddess Lakshmi, goddess Durga, goddess Lakshmi, and goddess Saraswati. And the 10th day is Vijayadashami, where we celebrate the good over the evil, victory of good over evil. So Prabhaji is going to sing a Devi bhajan for us. Hari Om Prabhaji.
Hari Om. Jagat Janani, Jagat Kalyani, Jagat Janani, Jagat Kalyani, Mata Bhavani, Vani Padmini, Mata Bhavani, Vani Padmini, Jagat Janani, Jagat Kalyani, Jagat Janani, Jagat Kalyani. Mana Kamana Isha Stuti ke, Mana Kamana Isha Stuti ke, कीजिए पूरी विद्यादायिनी, कीजिए पूरी विद्यादायिनी, जगत जननी, जगत कल्याणी, जगत जननी, जगत कल्याणी, माता भवानी, वाणी पद्मिनी, माता भवानी, वाणी पद्मिनी, जगत जननी, जगत कल्याणी जगकारिणी भवकारिणी जगत्कारिणी भवकारिणी जन पावनी मन भावनी जन पावनी मन भावनी जगत जननी जगत कल्याणी जगत जननी जगत कल्याणी माता भवानी वाणी पद्मिनी माता भवानी वाणी पद्मिनी जगत जननी जगत कल्याणी जगत कल्याणी जगत कल्याणी हरि ओम
Sangeeta ji need to unmute. You're muted.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted. That was a very beautiful bhajan, Prabhaji. Thank you so much. Now we are moving on to the health session. The health topic today is diabetes and why it is important to have a good blood sugar control. Now that it's Navratri and we will be going into Deepavali, then it's Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and it goes on, and we all are so tempted to eat all those lovely food, sweets, and carbohydrates. So I thought it's a good idea to review diabetes and importance of blood sugar control. So as most of you may know, diabetes mellitus is one of the most common chronic medical condition in older adults. It causes numerous complications and has high risk of geriatric condition. So for those of you who don't know me, I am, apart from being a Chinmaya volunteer, I'm a physician, a geriatric physician. A geriatric physician specializes in the care of elderly greater than 65 and above. But the geriatric conditions such as polypharmacy or medications, number of medications that one takes every day. Somebody has diabetes, I'm sure they are on 4 to 6 medications at one time. Urinary incontinence or loss of bladder control puts them at very high risk of falls and fracture, cognitive impairment or impairment in ability to think and function, memory loss, depression, chronic pain, and all of this can lead to disability. So the major problem in diabetes is high blood sugar, right? Hyperglycemia. And this happens because the hormone called insulin that is secreted by the beta pancreatic cells are either decreased or not working properly. So there's a problem in secretion, which is reduced, or problem in action. So the general population that are risk for diabetes can be middle-aged adults who are obese and also people greater than 65. As we grow older, just like our hair is thinning and is reducing, it's part of aging. So does the insulin secretion also decreases. So everybody is prone to diabetes. There are two kinds of diabetes. 90% of the older adults have type 2, which is in general characterized by impaired secretion of insulin, which may be decreased or impaired action, just like I told you. And the type 1 diabetes is the complete absolute insulin deficiency. There's no insulin secretion. So they all need insulin replacement. Whereas in type 2, your doctors must be prescribing some oral medications other than insulin. And also lifestyle modification and diet and exercise also helps in both these types of diabetes. So let's look at what does it mean by a good blood sugar control. You would have heard what hemoglobin A1C. No? This is a glycohemoglobin that is measured in the blood that gives an idea of how well your blood sugar is controlled in the last 3 months. So usually for a middle-aged person, the required control is 6.5%. But it should be patient-centered, because while we don't want to experience the symptoms of high blood sugar, hyperglycemia, which is polyuria or frequency in urination, polyphagia, making you feel hungry, and weight loss can happen, and polydipsia or increase in thirst. So these are the symptoms of high blood sugar. When the blood sugar is high, it also leads to vascular complication. Vascular complications are things that happen in your blood vessels, namely your arteries. Atherosclerosis can happen in these arteries, can cause impaired circulation in hands and feet, mostly legs, that prones you to infection, also gangrene, or even sometimes limb loss if we are not very careful, and also stroke and heart attacks. It also affects nerves in hands and feet and causes pain called neuropathy, and also numbness. This is why it increases risk for falls, affects balance, and also affects vision, because it causes something called diabetic retinopathy. It also affects kidneys. So people with diabetes are prone for kidney failure. So when we say, oh, you have to reduce your blood sugar, but you also have to remember very low blood sugar is also not advisable, because it can cause feeling of dizziness, confusion, loss of consciousness, and falls. So what is normal blood sugar, right? What is normal, what is not diabetes, is from 60 to 125. Anything above 125, fasting, I'm talking about fasting blood sugar. So fasting is when you have not taken any food for 8 hours and you test your blood sugar, that is called a fasting blood sugar. So at random, after you've eaten, your blood sugar should not be more than 200. So going back to what A1C, which is checked to see how well your diabetes is controlled, for middle-aged people is 6.5. As we grow older, because we run the risk of low blood sugar and complications from the low blood sugar, then the A1C is little relaxed. It comes down to 7 to 7.5. And as we grow older into our 80s, then it is 8, and 90s is 9. So it's very patient-centered approach, and it should be personalized. So in general, how are you maintain a good blood sugar? That is done, by a normal pancreas. So our bodies are very smart. So when we start eating, the pancreas starts secreting insulin. And that's how it maintains the normal blood sugar. That's called euglycemia. Not very high, hyper, not very low, hypoglycemia. But how to mimic this, right? By when the normal physiology is not happening, it is a challenge, but we can do it. It's not hard. If we maintain regular eating habits, and if we maintain eating a low carbohydrate diet, a well-balanced meal with fruits, vegetables, fruits not very high in glucose, vegetables, proteins, and I want to remind you, we're going to be talking in a series about diabetes. So we'll talk in detail about diet in one of the programs. So I'm giving you an idea of low carb diet, good amount of protein, enough of fat also, and a lot of vegetables and fruits that are not very high in sugar should be part of your each meal. And for a diabetic person, 3 meals a day is okay, but you can have snacks in between to kind of counteract that deep dips in your blood sugar. So the exercise is very important. 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes of walking, decent exercise, 5 to 7 days a week is advisable, and maintaining a normal body weight is also important. So in order to maintain a good blood sugar, like day to day, what can we do? So you take small, frequent meals, 3 meals a day. And then if your doctor is prescribing the medications for diabetes, could be an oral medication, it could be an insulin, please follow that instruction. And when you're taking your medication, make sure you eat, because it's going to drop your blood sugar, and that also causes symptoms like I described. So when your blood sugar drops and when you're feeling dizzy, you can also feel sweaty, sometimes have palpitation. Make sure you have some sugars with you, like a chocolate, or even they have sugar tablets, like 15 grams, and then you can just take it so that you increase the level of your blood sugar, so you don't have complications from the blood sugar, low blood sugar. With that, I'm going to stop, and we will continue more in our next sessions. I'll go in a little bit more in detail about different kinds of treatments that are available, how do they test and evaluate diabetes, and then one sessions we can keep separate for diet and exercise. So with that, I like to conclude my talk on why it is important to have a good blood sugar control in diabetes. And we will take questions at the end of the program. With that, I would now invite Latha Sundaramanji. So if you see in my background, I have what's called Golu. So for Navratri, I am from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and we celebrate Navratri by displaying Golu or dolls on steps. And the reason why, and we are supposed to, after the 9th and the 10th day, we are actually supposed to remove the Golu. But I just kept it specially for this program because this is a Navratri special. But the way we can do it, you take one doll and make it horizontal, make it lie down, as if to say you are a sample that the Golu is finished. We have done the Arati, the Golu is finished. So I'm going to invite Latha Sundaraman ji. Latha ji has spectacular Golu in her home. So I'm going to invite her to talk about how she celebrates Navratri. Lataji, Hari Om.
Hari Om, Sangeeta ji. Hari Om, everyone. Thank you so much, Sangeeta ji, for inviting me to talk about Navratri. And like you have explained before, and that's a beautiful Bomakolu that you have at your home. And yeah, it's the same Bomakolu, same reason. Even I have kept the Bomakolu after you told me. I didn't want to take it out. I just wanted to share what I have kept this year with everyone here. So let me just give in 2 sentences. Most of us know what Navratri is. Nava is 9 and Ratri is nights. So celebrating the goddess Durga, Lakshmi and Saraswati for 9 days is Navratri. So in different parts of India, we celebrate it in different ways. In North, we all do fasting and also do Dandiya, Garba, and it's a colorful celebration of Navratri and the goddess. And in South,
Hari
I
Om,
come from
Lata.
Tamil Nadu.
Hari Om, Lata. 1 second. I think you have 2 equipments on. We are hearing a lot of echo.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
mute one and then just have one on? Thank you, Lata.
It is muted. One is muted, one is. Do you still hear
Log
echo?
out of one. Lataji, can you log out of one that you kept muted?
Yeah, I will do that. Is
Now
it
go
clear
ahead.
now?
Yeah, now it is.
Okay. So yeah, I come like Sangeeta ji. I come from South India, Tamil Nadu, and we keep, we celebrate Navratri by keeping Bomakolu. Bomakolu is, Bommai is dolls and Kolu is display. So we display the dolls in the steps. So I will just, take you to our Bomakolu here. This is our Bomakolu this year. So this is the display of all the dolls in the steps. So what we do is we arrange all the dolls in steps, and usually the steps are in odd numbers, and we have a certain way to display the dolls also. So the way that we keep the progression is on the topmost step, we keep the Kalasam, and then Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati is there on the topmost step. And in the next step is again, goddess avatars, the Ashta Lakshmi is kept. And the next step is for the gods, where we have the Dasavataram, and we have Vishwarupam, Shiva, Ganapati, all those are there. The next step, if you see here, these are all the representation of all born as human beings, but they are elevated souls. So that is the next step. And in the next step, it is the common man. You can see a grocer and his wife selling all these items, and also a doll representing a bride and groom. And like this is the wooden doll. If you see, I have made the dolls lay down like Sangeeta explained, because when we complete on the 9th day of Navratri, we just, to mark the completion of Navratri, we just make them lie down. So that was the reason that they are lying down here. So these two are the wooden dolls, which is given to us when we get married. Our parents, our mom give it to us, when we get married and come. This is a very important doll that goes on the step. And the last step is all the birds and animals. So if you see here, it is a complete evolution progression, which is shown throughout in the Navratri steps. And this is Durga Ma. So I had made her for one of the Navratris, I think 3 or 4 Navratris back. So this is the complete representation of the Navratri that we have kept. Usually I go by theme, but this time around, I have kept only the dolls, which is very important to be kept. And we can go by whatever we like, based on themes, or if we want to talk a story in the theme, we can do that also. So more than that, the best part for me, how do I connect to Navratri, is the happiness and the, that I derive from this divine experience throughout. Usually I start before 15 days. When I do the themes, I start before 15 days, putting up the Navratri and everything. So I read about the story, then I conceptualize it. I put different parts together. So, and during that period, I listen to a lot of shlokas, and during the Navratri, reciting the shloka, and also we make with the chanas, we make a prasadam called sundal, and then also inviting all the ladies for haldi kumkum. And the whole experience, just I feel that it purifies me inside out, and the positive energy that I derive, be it reciting the shlokams, or doing all the prasadams, or the positive energy that the ladies who come in for haldi kumkum, they bring in, they are Devi Swarupam. So those are all it gives such happiness and brings such positive energy for me. So those are the main reasons that, I just enjoy celebrating Navratri all the 9 days. And then that is my experience that I wanted to share with all of you here. And thank you for listening to my thoughts and experience about Navratri. And thanks for the opportunity. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Lataji. That takes us back, home when we were little, running around, and we always also had opportunities to dress up like Devis, or even like Krishna or Radha or whoever we felt like, and go to each other's house. And I remember making a point, I learned to sing so that I can sing and get sundal in everybody's house. So that was the treat. So when it's Navratri, when you go to somebody's house, I mean, it's good to sing. It's not a must, but it's a good to sing. If anybody else have some warm Navratri memories, or how they celebrate, or how they experience, I would now like to invite anybody in the audience to share. I know in the north, there's a lot of dandiya going on. I remember being invited with my friends who are from Gujarat, or back home. My God, they did all night dandiya sessions. I would survive one.
Okay, to ask Lataji one question or to you about this, about the dog, Gokulus?
Neelamji, can you speak a little louder?
Speak louder. Okay, sorry. I said, is it okay to ask a question from Lataji or from you about the
Golu? Sure,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. So Lataji was saying, how the lying down one and the one which was right on the bottom step, the one that was lying down, and in like how you said the memories of the childhood. And then Lataji was saying how when she got married, like when she got married, the parents give that to the lady. Okay, so then what's the significance? Is that lying down one given, or like the whole set is given, or the bridesmaids one? I mean, the bride and the groom is given.
No, the one which is given is made out of wood. So it is not, that is a must. When we get married, during our marriage, they give, that is called as Marapachi. It is in Tamil, they call it as Marapachi. That it means the doll made out of wood. Maram is wood, so it's made out of wood. Those two dolls are a bride and a groom. So those two are the dolls which are given to us during our wedding. And those are the very important. Apart from the Kalash, these two dolls, any other dolls are not a must. Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Kalash is a must. Apart from that, the keeping of these two wooden dolls is a must, because that comes as a dahej, or a gift from our mother's home, which we carry it into our, when we get married, we bring it home. So that's the significance of that doll. The reason I showed you that they are lying down is because after the 9th day, we have to make them lie down on the step because that marks the end of Navratri. It is just these, until today I have kept it. This is just to share with everyone, we have kept it, but we have to make them lay down. So that was the reason that they are lying down on the steps. Otherwise they will be put straight on the steps. They'll be standing on the steps like other dolls.
Gee, but what's the spiritual significance? I just wanted to ask that, because you know how nicely you described that it gives you a sense of joy and connection with the divine. So I wanted to ask about that because, the wedding ceremony, it's so spiritual. And I love, I've attended a lot of South Indian weddings, even here. And it's so significant, but we can't ask Pujari ji or anyone the question.
I see Ravi ji raising the
Yeah,
hand.
Ravi ji, he's a doctor. We have time, Ravi ji. I'm going to have you speak as soon as Neelam ji and Lata ji finish talking. Is that okay?
Yeah. I want to try the spiritual significance of what she was asking. That's really what I
Okay,
want.
go ahead. Go
That's
ahead.
really what I
thought
wanted to share.
Okay, go ahead, Ravi ji.
The whole-
Lata ji, do you mind? Can Ravi ji answer that
No,
question?
please, please go ahead, Ravi ji.
And I know Ravi ji also, so it's good. Thank you.
Yeah, I used to be there. I moved from there to Indiana now. That's really what. So coming back to this whole thing, this 9 days is for the Srishti Shakti. So that is Devi. That is to start off. And in starting to display this is the Srishti aspect of it. And the 9 days of displaying it and inviting everybody is to demonstrate the Sthiti aspect of it. That is creation and then sustaining. And then the last 9 days, the significance of even making the doll lie down is layam. That is, it is all dissolving back into that. So the whole 9 days are displaying this whole aspect of the creation, sustaining, and then dissolution. And that is really what it is. In fact, in olden days, the dolls were made out of clay, like mud, and then they painted it and all of that. This was all their standard thing. And then like what we do for Ganpati, you go and do the Visarjanam, like that it goes back. So the whole idea is that there was nothing that was man-made material that was ever used in olden days. The significance of it is to demonstrate that creation, sustaining, and dissolution. That is what the spiritual significance of Navaratri, the display of all of these things. That's the rest of the stuff is all just to have a good time to be with your friends and have well-wishers. That's really what the whole idea is. Hari Om.
Thank you, Raviji. Hari Om.
That was very beautiful,
Got
Ravi
to
ji.
learn something, Ravi ji. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
And also, there is also Dr. Ravi. Is that same Ravi ji who wants to talk about this experience changing to plant-based diet and reducing A1C? Okay. All right, maybe he can speak next time.
I see two Ravi Jis, Sangeeta. One
Yeah, there is
Ravi
Ravi ji.
and I see Ravi's iPad. I think the Ravi ji is our CMWRC Ravi ji, right? Who's just spoke.
Yeah,
Right, Ravi ji?
This is Ravi is from New Jersey.
You are on mute, Ravi ji.
No, this
Okay.
Ravi ji iPad, I think he's the one who wants to talk about plant-based diet.
Okay.
Right? And after him, Tanuja ji, you will talk, okay?
Sangeeta ji, he just spoke. He said he's from.
There are two Ravi jis, Neelam ji. There are two Ravi.
Do you see two of them? No, I logged only once.
There are two Ravis.
iPad is, I am from New Jersey.
Okay, are you
My
the...
son is in this number, yeah. Sorry for the confusion.
That's okay. Okay. So, Tanuja ji, did you want to say something?
Yes, my question is to you and regarding diabetes, but it's specifically about not about people who are already diabetic, but about people who are trying to prevent getting diabetic. Now, recently, I read a book from Canadian nephrologist, Dr. Jason Fung, and he talks a lot about intermittent fasting and time-restricted feeding. And I see people around me and every other person is doing fasting, time-restricted feeding. So wanted to know what are your thoughts about that in preventing diabetes? He talks a lot about reducing insulin levels or having a counteracting high insulin levels with very low insulin levels with fasting. And he says that that will be helpful in prevent obesity and diabetes, to prevent insulin resistance. And I see so many people around are fasting these days. So I would like to, being a geriatrician, I would like to know your thoughts about that.
So fasting, it's also should be personalized. I cannot say, come, let's all fast, you know, and I don't think that will be appropriate or even the right thing to do. Maintaining a normal body weight, you know, everybody according to the height and their age and gender, body mass index should be calculated. And you should try to maintain within that range, your normal BMI. So in order to do that, each individual will know, how much we are eating and how much we are eating more than that we should. So if you want to fast, then know your ability to fast. So as even in the Hindu religion, right? For various reasons, we fast. We have we observe fasting. But if you say this completely no water, no food is usually not recommended. You're allowed to have water, milk, and fruit like banana, or coconut water, things like that. So so the concept of intermittent fasting is, you're not taxing your pancreas to produce insulin and get exhausted, because the pancreas too, after some time, it's secreted and it gets burnt up. In order to prevent that, then you maintain low blood sugar, then the pancreas is not taxed to produce insulin. So that's a concept. But I cannot tell, especially elderly people, I take care of elderly, meaning 80 plus people, but even anybody, you still have to work, right? You still, people have to function every day, and you cannot stop eating. So that's why I said, if you want to fast, know your body, know your ability, and you always start low. Maybe, so we say fasting blood sugar is 8 hours. So start with 8 hours of fasting. Usually try to have a supper like 5 or 6 or even 7, and don't eat. And then you're fasting while you're sleeping. It's so beautiful. Sleep for 8 hours and you wake up. You have a small breakfast, and then breakfast, which is low carb, lots of fruits, then grains, and then you keep going to lunch. So they always say, I shouldn't say small breakfast. I should say you have a good breakfast, you have a medium lunch, and a small dinner or supper. So if you do that, that itself will give you a good blood, blood sugar, euglycemic, to maintain a euglycemic range, and you're not exhausting your insulin. Maintain your body weight. These extreme diets, I usually don't recommend or support. And of course, I'm not expert in these diets. I'm not an expert in intermittent fasting. I'm not expert in keto diet. You listen, but one thing I'll tell you, I will say I'm an expert in common sense diet. We all know if we are eating more of sugars, we already know that. And the way I say, the smartest thing to do, if you want to lose weight, you kind of reduce what you should not be eating. So that way you do it. But fasting is good because it's a way you give your body some rest, your gut some rest also is good. So, but 8 hours, and usually that is while you're sleeping, is a good time to fast. Have an early dinner, then don't eat anything. I would not recommend snacking before dinner unless you're a diabetic and your blood sugar is dropping. Then you have to snack something. And I won't say don't snack, because very low blood sugar below 60 is dangerous. But for people who are not diabetic and you want to maintain normal body weight and you want to avoid getting diabetes, have an early supper. And then after 7, if you finish, or maybe 8, okay, let me not be too strict. By 8, then don't eat anything. Hydrate, drink water, drink warm glass of milk without sugar before you go to bed, if at all you want something in your stomach, because sleeping hungry also is not a good thing. You won't have a good night rest. So have a nice warm glass of milk, and then don't eat anything but hydrate, drinking water. Even if you're thirsty in the middle of the night, drink some water. Then you break your fast. That's why we call it breakfast in the morning. I hope it answered your question.
Thank you.
All right, so we are actually 15 minutes past our program, and yeah, there is Raviji. Yeah, Raviji from CMWRC, you wrote a plant-based diet. I'm seeing these messages on the chat.
I wrote about the plant-based diet. I have been on it for now like almost 5 years now.
Okay, in our next program,
Yeah.
can we have you talk about it?
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I think I saw your number.
Yeah.
Oh God, wait, before we conclude the program, because I lose your number in the chat, I will message you and we can plan on you talk about plant-based diet next. I lost your phone number. Can you text me?
Yeah. 240. I'll send it to you. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'll send it. I'll text you in this and put it in the chat again.
24, yes, I got it.
370-1205.
Yeah, got it. Okay. I will get in touch with you and have you talk in our next program.
Sure. No problem.
All right. With that, we will conclude our program today. Thanks everybody for coming, and please watch out for our flyers. Next one will be the 3rd Saturday because it's a long weekend. Tanuja ji, go ahead.
I got an email about this program. That is how I attended this. But normally, when do you meet? Even Medhaji and you all, you're talking about the next program. So how do I know? Should I be in the email list or register myself, or what do I need to do?
So that's how your email, we are distributing it to everybody via email, and that's how you got it. So watch for an email. For month of November and December, we probably will move it to the 3rd Saturday. We do a fourth Saturday at 5 p.m. But for these 2 months, it's probably 3rd Saturday because we are going into the holiday weekend, Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's the only reason. So watch for a flyer. And Tanuja ji, you brought a good question. We are going to open a email and we are going to receive everybody's email so that we can send flyers to you for participants who are regular.
So I don't have to register anywhere?
No.
Okay.
This is a free program. Everybody can come.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. See you next time.